front cover of my music magazine uses a medium close-up shot. This is also used on Vibes magazine image of Drake. I analysed this cover in the planning stages of my magazine, and I saw that the image of him was sharp and crisp. He also directly addresses the audience and draws them into picking it up. He does this by looking straight into the camera, making it seem like he's looking at you from all angles. On the Vibe magazine that I looked at, I saw that Drake was wearing black clothes and was standing in front of a black background. I wanted to adjust this by dressing my hip-hop star in grey clothes and placing him in front of a grey background. The masthead in the Source magazine was very eye-catching and stood out well, as the in the title was rotating 90 degrees. For my front cover, I wanted to do something similar. Instead of positioning the outside of the word, I placed it within the B of beats. On the Vibe and Source magazine, the main image anchored the masthead, which meant the magazine was well known and established. I used this tactic within my front cover by using the lasso tool within Photoshop. I placed some writing within a rectangle box, which was of a different colour to the background. Vibe magazine used this technique within their magazine, which made the important information stand out and attracts the reader. The three colours that I use on the front cover are black, red and white, as these appeared most within the magazines that I analysed, so I wanted to use the traditional style. They are the conventional colours and all contrast well together, giving the greatest image. On the contents page, I was fully focusing on the XXL magazine that I studied, and I made sure that what I created was as close to this as I possibly could. I used the same colours and similar fonts to keep the house style consistent. On my double page spread, I made sure that I took a landscape image using the camera, so I could have the main image on the left hand side of the screen with the empty space on the right. I looked at XXL magazine's double page spread, which also followed this layout. I made sure that I included conventional skills within the 3 pages, including kickers, drop caps, jumpers and pull quotes. There is a positive representation of teenagers within my magazine. My front cover emphasises on the talented artist. On my double page spread, I interviewed the teenage rapper and he talks about his current success, how he got there, and the obstacles that he faced during the process. The whole interview appeals to teenagers as it represents the American dream. This means that anyone can succeed at things that they enjoy, they just need the motivation and drive to stride forward. The article will inspire people of the same age as young Ryan and puts affirmative feelings towards teenagers of today's society. However, I have challenged the conventional media's assumption that all rappers are from the black culture by placing young Ryan, an Asian teenager, on my front cover. I did this to expand my target audience as it appeals to a wider range of people, as I have used multi-nationalities. A media institution primarily publishes and distributes magazines would be my first thought. XXL magazine is published by Dennis Page, Vibe magazine by Jeff Mazzacano, and the Source magazine by Londell Macmillan. As these 3 people have been funding, marketing and distributing magazines for long periods of time, they will have a lot of trade experience. They will know the best strategies, including the day to release the issue. The weekend may be one of the offers given, as it is at the end of the week and most shops are populated within this time. If I were to choose one media institution to distribute my product, I would pick Jeff Mazzacano. This is because Vibe magazine is the most successful of the 3 and are partners of the Vibe Lifestyle Network. There will be great opportunities to make healthy profit margins. I am mainly targeting the teenage generation who listen to hip-hop and R&B music. There will be some young and old adults that will also be interested, but the mass audience will be between the ages of 13 and 19. As my magazine focuses on R&B and hip-hop, I'll be attracting the Afro-Caribbean ethnicity on the hip-hop side and girls on the R&B side. So effectively, I will create a larger audience interest from this. I have been able to attract my audience by using a booster on the front cover. This draws the reader in as they think that they can win the contest. I asked a teenage artist to pose for my magazine as it draws my target audience in. This is because they are similar ages to him and so they can relate to him and believe that they can get to where he is. I have placed cover lines around the main image as this creates an enigma for the reader and provides them with additional reasons to why they should purchase the magazine. I have made a selling line saying UK's best hip-hop and R&B magazine and placed it at the very top of the page. This benefits the magazine, as this can only sometimes be seen on the shelf if another magazine is overlapping it. From my market research, I realised that my target audience preferred sans serif font, as it is modern and appeals to a young generation, to which my magazine is aimed at, so I made sure that I incorporated it within my masthead. I wanted to attract females as well as males towards my magazine, so I referenced the female artist Nicki Minaj on the front cover, and an article featuring Rihanna on the contents page. As these two women are very popular within the R&B market, I have used them to attract a wider range of audience. From my questionnaire results, I found out that 33% of people would prefer to pay $3 to $3.99 and 37% up to $4.99. I decided to price my magazine at £3.60, which gives me the option to increase the price up to the $4.99 margin for special editions. This is a reasonable price, as people can afford it with their disposable income. At the beginning of the coursework, I was introduced to a new piece of technology, which was WordPress. I was taught how to upload my work onto the website and publish it for everyone else to see. Whilst doing my market research, I accessed the social network site Facebook to get results from my questionnaire by asking my target audience. As my skills progressed within Photoshop, I was able to use the magnetic lasso tool to cut around my main image and repaste it into the same place. This enabled my image to anchor the masthead. During the photography stages of my magazine, I took a range of images using a digital camera, but as I knew few skills, my pictures weren't that sharp or in good locations, thus a poor first draft. For my second draft, I put my artist in front of a grey canvas and took a medium close-up shot. I positioned the lighting on the left-hand side so there would be a shadow of low-key lighting on the right-hand side of his face. I dressed young Ryan in a grey hoodie and baggy joggers to follow the conventions of a hip-hop star. My pictures became more proficient and represented my magazine in a greater manner. I took some of my original images in the photography studio using a black and white background and adjusted the lighting and used a professional camera, which resulted in a greater quality magazine. I have been able to develop my Photoshop skills throughout the process of creating the music magazine. The start of the project was the first time I'd used Photoshop, so my skills were very limited and I found it tricky until I got to grips with the techniques. The first draft on my front cover was a weak one. This is because the picture wasn't crisp enough and the person was just standing there without any expressions on their face. On the final draft, I had my model posing with the sign of what a lot of hip-hop artists use. They also wore tracksuit bottoms, which represents a hip-hop character. I've used lighting to create low-key lighting on the side of his face, which connotes the person is suspicious and has a mystery or bad side to them, which is a stereotype within the hip-hop culture.